Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to beat the Empires of the Undergrowth level 3-2 frontline on impossible difficulty with the challenge active. So, I'm going to use taunt majors. You can use stun. Stun majors will, they will slow down the army ants' damage buff a little bit, but it really only works on them and small enemies. And the biggest problem in this level are the big enemies, and also taunts are just way tougher. So, first thing, send those guys out to harvest up there, get food and refuse immediately. Okay, you hear that? Lucrative harvesting grounds which have gone unchallenged for the past few weeks. They have 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20. They have 21 ants, plus the queen, and 0 food or refuge stores. How have they survived like this for several weeks? I can get like a billion times this much in a day. Anyway, we're going to be keeping these guys doing nothing for the time being, so they can help the nest workers. We want to get food and refuse storage immediately so we can collect food and store refuse quickly. We're not actually going to be digging out and fighting any enemies, but I do want to move fast so then we can just get quickly to the main harvesting part. Alright, I think that should be good enough. Let's send both of our colonies out. Both of our groups. So, I finally figured out how to do this. Basically, we're going to be using taunts, and we're going to be upgrading them. That's most of the strategy. Also, we're not going to be speedrunning. We're going to try to get to a certain level of strength before we do a full-on assault of the army ants, because you can beat the level with... What I've been doing is I've been trying to get just the bare minimum required amount of firepower to kill the army ants, and then killing them as quickly as I could after that. But that doesn't work well because, well, you just have the bare minimum. I want to have enough where I can comfortably kill them and deal with the threats that will get in between me and them. Well, why'd you just change your mind at the last second to harass me? That's just rude. It took me quite a while to figure this out. If you've been following the series, you'll know that I've had a lot of trouble with this level. Ever since, like, the Promised Land, I've been having trouble with this level. Okay, make sure that we have enough storage for everything. So we're going to be aiming for 19 media, and then we're just going to be focusing on majors. Actually, we want to make a few extra workers now, too. And of course, it's another baby velvet worm. So I originally got the idea for this by watching the streamer Deadeye. He was playing this level on impossible difficulty, and he beat it first try. By the end, he had like 100 ants, because instead of trying to rush like I usually do, because the level gets more difficult as you play. Every day is harder than the last and has more enemies. So I always wanted to try and speedrun it to beat it before it got too difficult. And while you do want to do that, like with Risk of Rain, you also actually want to try and make sure that you're going slowly enough that you have time to build up all the resources and power you need, which I was not doing very well. So we're harvesting from this area first, because that's the first spot that phorid flies will spawn. I believe they spawn here first, just about instantly. Then, I think here. Then here. Then here. And then here, and here, and here, and here. I don't remember exactly. I'll try... If I can find a thing on the wiki that says where they spawn, in what order, I'll put it here, but I don't know about that. Gonna send the little guys to harvest the closer ones, and the big guys harvest the further away ones. So we're gonna get one chamber of 19 media, and then we're going to focus entirely on majors after that. We're gonna get 19 majors and start upgrading them. That's another reason you want taunt majors, is because they're way better when upgraded, because they get the insane resistance buff on top of the fact that they heal every time they taunt, which is probably more useful than the taunting itself, honestly. I don't know why they don't actually mention that in-game. Like, unless you have health bars on and notice it, then it doesn't tell you that that happens.
They set up camp late last night.
I think I'm gonna need more workers, actually.
Swarming raids on the surrounding
Always try and get as few workers as I can, because later on they're really kind of useless. And we have an entire media gathering 3 leaf. Let's see. His total harvest quantity is 17. He is gathering 3, which, let's see, 17 minus 3 is 14. He is wasting 14 harvest potential. So we're actually not going to fight the army ants at all on the first day, as per usual. Oh yeah, I'm also going to have a thing that will show on screen and also in the description that shows timestamps for when everything happens in the level. So if you start a timer at the beginning of the level, as soon as it starts, then that timer should, the list I'm going to give should be, should tell you exactly when everything happens, so you have enough time to know when everything happens, but I shouldn't need that. If I fail this time, then I'll use it. But I don't think I will need that.
The army ants can be pushed back beyond leaf-cutter territory.
Now, let's talk about army ants spawning, because a big problem is getting all the army ants killed all the way down to here to where you're literally spawn killing them and there's none left and the bar just does not go down fast enough. The problem with that, the reason that happens is because they are not spawning fast enough. So the way it works is the first group of spawns, first off they'll spawn this big spearhead of a bunch of fully upgraded majors at the very front. Then they'll have a bunch of majors and media and minors spread out through the, or I guess they just have media? Huh. I thought they had media, majors, and minors. Anyway, they'll have more early on, and then they'll go all the way to the end of the map, and then they will disappear, and then they will reappear after a few seconds and come all the way back. And if they encounter any enemies along the way, then they will kill them and take their food back. And then they go all the way back to the end of the beginning, rather, of the... I should really... Gosh dang, I need to pay attention! They'll go all the way back to the beginning of the line and despawn. Once all of them have... Once the first wave has reached the end and then gone all the way and returned, then there will be a lot less of them. See how this line is denser than this line? There's only like a few here, but at the thinnest point there's a bunch of this one, because this is the newer line. Yeah, that's how that works. So, you actually want to get in and kill them, basically later in the... this is a really complex way to say later in the day they spawn slower, so you want to get in and start killing them fast early on. I should not have taken that much time to explain that. I'm trying to explain all the little details and stuff, and I really don't need to. Alright, phorid flies should be spawning soon. You can usually collect about all but one of these plants before they start spawning, but I kind of messed up and I'm a little late, so I probably won't get as many. That's fine. After this, we're going to go here. I thought that was a fully grown mantis for a second. Little concerned. So we'll start harvesting here, then here, then here, then here. Yep, phorid flies. Alright, so we're going to target this spot first, because if the amount of leaves stored in a plant is higher than the highest amount that you can harvest in one go, which is how much is this again? Harvest quantity is 17 at level 1. So as long as there's at least 17 food on one stalk, we will not be wasting any harvest capacity. But if we get one that's already been... See, if you look at this one, there's only 5 on this one. We'll be wasting all but 5 of the capacity there. So, that's why you want to... It's hard to talk and play at the same time. I should probably just do voiceovers later on, but whatever. So we're going to have all of them focus on here so they won't be wasting. If we have them go up here and go through here, then they'll spend extra time getting all these little saplings instead of the big one. And also this one's closer, so we want to get all the closer stuff first to speed up our growth fast early on, and then actually pay attention to the game and play instead of just sitting around and letting absolutely nothing happen. But hey, it just goes to show, if I can beat the level with a terrible attention span, then this strategy works. And if it doesn't work, then you won't be seeing this video. I'm just going to put my majors in here with the media as per usual. Now right now we actually want, if an army ant scout sees your ants and then escapes, it will spawn a group of enemy army ants to attack. You don't want that early on, you want that later on, once you've killed like all the ants and there's very few on screen. Then you want to start triggering those scouts. Before then, you want to just focus on just pushing the army ants away from your foraging areas and no more. Okay, now we're going to end up going through here because we passed by this. We're going to have to worry. We're just going to have to let them harvest that because we can't stop them. Getting quite a lot of waste build up. That's not great, but we'll should be fine. We should be fine. And I actually want to go up in here, go up here and harvest a little from this while the army ants are not here, before the whip spider comes out. Because once the army ants start to pack up for the day, there's a little bit of time where you can harvest stuff from here and pretty much anywhere on the map other than the islands before all the monsters on the islands leave and the nighttime monsters show up and head to the islands. So we want to take advantage of that time. Doesn't tell you how much refuse is on the tile. That'd be nice if it did. So the same harvesting ideas from the harvest are in play here. You want to have a lot of nest tiles so you can store the fungus quickly. You want to get your refuse low so you can turn the collected leaves into the edible food as fast as possible. Let's see. There we go. I like to put my group here. You don't have to. Some people like to avoid putting tiles on the path to the exit, but it really doesn't slow them down that much. Oh, here we go. Perfect timing. The whip spider has left his house, his little hidey hole, and we just barely passed him. That's actually literally perfect timing. Now, another plus of upgrading your majors in this level is it'll make them immune to phorid flies when they're at level 3, which means you can collect phorid fly infested areas like here without worry. That's not going to happen for a little while, but it'll be useful later on when like all of the available foraging areas are infested with phorid flies. Honestly, the phorid flies aren't that big of a problem in this level. It's mostly just the... It's not even the army ants or the whip spider. It's just the random mobs that spawn. See this baby velvet worm? In a couple days, he's going to be a big velvet worm. Well, a big one will spawn instead of him. He's not going to grow up to be a big velvet worm. He's dead. It's an interesting way to think about it is that, like, they're all, like, at the beginning of the level, all the enemies have just hatched, and then later on in the level, they've grown up to adulthood, and that's why they're bigger later on. You could think of it like that. That's cool.
The workers have done all they can to improve this refuse dump.
Generally, if you have too much refuse, that means that you don't have enough refuse tiles. It could also mean that I don't have enough, like, worker tiles and stuff. See, these guys have to bring the leaves all the way from here all the way over to here because there's a bunch of fungus on these tiles. Let's go ahead and expand this a little. I think I can dig that out. I really want to get this leaf turned into usable fungus like instantly as soon as I finish collecting it. Because otherwise, I'm going to be on lower population than I could be, which is going to have a snowball effect and make me weaker in the long run. The good news is we are collecting a lot of leaves. That's the good news. So yeah, I could not beat this level on impossible difficulty. Tried a billion times. I could beat it, but not reliably. I'd beat it on like the, I don't know. I'd beat it like 30% of the time, maybe 40. But now I can beat it about 70% of the time, which is about as much as I had on the Harvest before I got, at the time that I made the Harvest video. Now on the Harvest I actually have like an 80% win rate. Oh hey, he's fighting a child! Cops, get him! Whip Spider cancelled on Twitter. No. So now that leaves are slightly more difficult to get because they're a bit further away, we're going to try to keep some leaves stored but not used, or some food stored but not used. See, we're clearing out tons of fungus. Funds of tungus. I need to stop saying that. I always want to do silly little portmanteaus or swapping the letters, the first letters of things. If you don't know, a portmanteau is when you take the first part of one word and combine it with a second word, like whip spider would be wider or something silly like that. And I'm always making really stupid ones in my videos. You might have noticed.
The jungle stirs. The sound of panicked arthropods running from danger can be heard throughout the leaf litter, and the ant birds are circling overhead. The swarm has returned.
Alright, army ants are going to
The
be
battle has begun.
very close to the third line, which is reaching our nest. So we need to get prepared to attack them quickly. Just gonna finish gathering up all these leaves. Head out. By the way, all the enemies that are here, they'll go from here down to here and back. Alright, perfect. Turn off food gathering. Have all our media and majors show up right here. And we're gonna wait for the main wave to pass through. Then we're gonna kill everyone behind them.
The ants will fight to the
Alright,
death.
go. And at this point, I'm actually going to go ahead and put them both in different categories, so I can control the media and majors independently. It's always helpful to have multiple groups. Jumping Spider's helping out, and then he just gave up and started attacking us. Gonna try and bring some of my media up here if I can. Take down that guy. Never mind, the mantis did it for me. The enemies are being very helpful today. Don't put a marker down here, because if you do, it'll, if you go any lower than about here, then they'll go down through here, which means going past this area where tons of enemies like to walk around. So don't do that. Yeah, as you can see, this line has been going for a while, so there's a lot less ants, like maybe half as much. And again, that was the main problem I was running into, is just the ants just were not spawning enough for me to kill them. Whoa! Velvet worm spawning, that's funny. Okay, I am gonna have to go down there eventually, but we'll wait for Mr. Velvetworm to leave first. Alright, so now we're going to try and get our media to camp here while our majors go out and go here. And we're going to get seen by Army Ant Scouts. Lovely.
The leafcutters have been spotted by a troop of Army Ant Scouts. If any escape, they will call for...
Now, let me explain why I want to upgrade my ants instead of just getting a huge army of them. Generally, getting a huge army is better, but you need to have each ant survive as long as possible here, because if one ant dies, it's going to take a while for it to get replaced, because they're going to have to come all the way from over here, and there's a bunch of enemies in the way, so if they do end up getting replaced by new spawns, then those spawns are going to come in one at a time, and they're just going to get beat up on the way here, and we're just going to lose food constantly as soon as any of our ants die. Sort of like as soon as you get a wound, you start bleeding. That's sort of what happens here. Now, enemies killing the army ants does actually count towards the goal here. So, that's nice. Well, sometimes it's nice. Sometimes, like if you get one that's killing them very slowly, and you need to be there to kill them, then that's annoying because you want to actually... Oh, for crying out loud. We just... See, I don't want that to happen right now because... Oh boy, we're getting ourselves massacred. No, we can probably maybe do this. Yeah, we really want to avoid the scouts until we can get enough to quickly... We want to avoid the scouts until a bunch of new army ants. I don't know what I'm saying. Avoid the scouts for now. Yes. Okay. So now, no more new army ants are spawning in this category, so we're going to move them up here. Get these ones going home. And then we're going to start attacking over here on these lines. Try and kill these guys a little more quickly with the media. So having upgraded ants makes them last longer, which means less respawns, which means less of a trail going back and forth where your ants die one at a time. And it also increases the damage they do by a significant amount if you get them to level 3, actually, because level 3 taunts have double the health of a level 1, and more than double the damage. That's insane. So yeah, upgrading is actually good in this level, which is great, because it's such a cool mechanic, and it kind of sucked that for most of the levels, it just isn't useful at all. Yeah, see, stun might be useful here because we have a major in full rage mode. And so we'd be able to stun him and make that not quite as bad. He killed a ton of our guys. That was really bad, actually. Alright, we're going back here. Man, this music's amazing. Going to be collecting some of the leaves on the way there, which is also great. It might actually not be a bad idea to try and harvest from these before they get active, before the tough enemies start spawning, but I need to just collect some leaves and prepare for the whip spider right now. So we're going to go for this one because I know that phorid flies will spawn here. So far the phorid flies have spawned 1, 2, and 3. Don't know where the fourth one's going to spawn. Alright, bring everybody back. In fact, send them up there. Ooh, I might be a bit too late. The music's starting to stop. Let's turn off combat just in case the whip spider comes by while we're still heading home. Oh, that's a fully grown mantis on day 2. Not good. I mean, I suppose it's normal for them to show up right now, but I don't like it. So all the enemies that are here and here will spawn from this little cubbyhole. All the enemies here will spawn here. And all the enemies that will go here actually spawn from here. So once daytime comes, they'll go all the way around and come back here. You'll notice that when I was harvesting down here, a guy was coming from the left. That's why. Alright, I have 38 ants. I'm gonna try and get some upgrades before I fight the whip spider. I should have plenty of food for that. So this is when the whip spider starts actually approaching your nest. So we're going to go ahead and slowly get our ants to reconvene over here. We're going to wait for them to scoot a little closer, because right now, the guys that are going to show up here spawn from up here. And so we don't want to fight them over here, because then they're going to be coming down here, and we're going to be right in the middle of their travel path. We're going to try and wait for him to go down a little. Usually he ends up going over here at some point. We're also going to turn off combat, because we want to turn combat off, surround him or get behind him, then turn it back on, just like we usually do. He really doesn't want to go there, does he? I think I'll just have to fight him here. I'll give him a few more seconds. Get a couple more upgrades. Normally I fight him with like 50 or 60 ants, but that's when I make more media, and I'm not doing that this time, so... Oh, perfect! Well, never mind, I'm just gonna go get him. Yeah, see, this guy's coming over here. Yeah, we want to surround him, because that way... Because if our ants are always coming from here, he's just gonna be using that grab attack, whatever you want to call it, and it does extra damage the further away you are. So if you're right next to him, it won't deal much damage. So I want to cluster a bunch of ants right up next to him from all sides, so he's constantly switching directions and using his grab attack in directions that don't actually hurt me all that much. Make sure I've combat on for both of them. So if he's doing that constantly, then it's going to just decimate my groups here. But if I have some behind him, then he's going to spin around occasionally. And we're getting gooed up by the velvet worm. That's fun. Yeah, the whip spider is really small potatoes in this level. Really small leaf, I guess. It's only got 22,000 health. Which, once we get into the tier 5 levels, that's going to be basically 0. Even for some basic mobs that aren't bosses. Okay, maybe you're not. But still, it's not a lot of health considering what we're going to be facing later on. So once we've killed him, we're going to harvest from here. Now this is the night that... This is the night where things start to get really dangerous with the ambient mobs. Also, some of the guys that spawn up here, some of them will go here, some will go...
The whip spider has fallen.
There we go.
Sacrificed many brave soldiers to pacify this beast. The Queen will now work quickly to spawn the replacements.
The colony sacrificed many brave soldiers to pacify this beast. That's not what pacify means. Pacify means make passive. Make non-hostile, non-aggressive, befriend, tame. We killed that guy. That's not what pacify means. Pacify does not mean that. A pacifier isn't something that just knocks your baby out with blunt force when it's crying. At least I hope yours isn't. So what I like to do here is have my media and workers gather food while I clear out some of the enemies here. Because some of the nighttime enemies that spawn here, some will go here, some here, and then some will run up and down, back and forth along the middle area here, like this guy. But at this point, I think we're good now, so we're just gonna have everyone harvest. For a second I thought there's another whip spider over there, and I'm like, wait, what? I'm starting to think bush crickets are worse than velvet worms. They don't have the slowdown effect, but they're a lot faster. and they seem to spawn more often. Actually, let's compare their stats. We can do that now. So Velvet Worm has 450 health and how much damage? 80. So 450 and 80. This guy has 650 health and 30 damage. Because he has this melee damage, but it doesn't take into account the special ability, which it doesn't actually say how much damage that does. I really wish it would. There's a lot of stats that are missing here. Also, I believe the speed... Yeah, the movement speed just shows your current movement speed, not the base movement speed of the ant. But I think you can see that here, right? Yeah, there we go. Still have no idea what 31 movement speed actually means. Is that like 31 millimeters per second or something? That would actually be really fast for a bug.
Free reign of the harvesting grounds is about to be cut short. The swarm has mobilized.
Alright, so we're going to still want to... Okay, see, look, these guys from over here, they're going all the way around and hiding in here. So, I'm thinking I might actually want to try and harvest from here before it gets infested with daytime enemies, and I can just kill the daytime enemies that spawn as they come. So we'll kill them one at a time. Yeah, see, they're starting to spawn. This grasshopper, cricket. I always mix those two up. I don't know why. Getting tons of leaves. First level 3. That's a big milestone. Abort mission. We're getting invaded by army ants again. Fire ants. Fire ants do actually live in the same place as leafcutter ants in real life.
Space is running out.
Although, in the game, the fire ant levels take place in a swamp in the U.S. somewhere. I think they said it was like North Carolina or something. But at any rate, they take place in America because fire ants are invasive species to America. They're not here natively, but they're carried over by ships and completely took over. But I'll talk more about fire ants and the fire ant levels, I guess. Which I've already done actually one video on, so I might as well start now. Yeah, they tried to get rid of fire ants by like spraying pesticides everywhere or something. And it did kill some fire ants, but it also killed all the bugs they were competing with. And then the fire ants just reproduced back to the level back to the point they were before the pesticides had been sprayed, but without all their natural predators, or without all their competition, and so it actually made them stronger. So that's not particularly helpful.
The leafcutters must press on to keep them at bay.
I'm only just recently realizing just how big of a problem invasive species can be. Okay, I'm going to keep harvesting. I was gonna attack the army ants, but I need more food first. This is not strong enough, in my opinion. And we got a velvet worm. Good. Fully grown. Super. I need to slime my level 3. That's what I wanted. Actually, it's taken like no damage. That's great. Yeah, I wish they'd tell you how much damage the slime ability does. Also, crickets have the ability of some damage returned to attacker. Doesn't say how much. I really wish it would. It always has stats like plus 0.3 armor. Thanks, I don't know what that means. This is kind of why I want someone to data mine the game and just give all the information about it in very technical specifics and stuff. Like that Five Nights at Freddy's Tech Rules video. And they're coming back again. Gosh dang it.
The swarm frontier is expanding towards the leafcutter nest.
Don't try and fight all these at once, you will die and it will suck. Not only will it kill you, but it will hurt the whole time you are dying.
An army and scouting party.
Oh, for crying out loud, get lost.
They must not be allowed to report back to the swarm. The leaf cutters allow
Excuse me? Where?
A battalion of soldiers is in
Gosh darn it. And they're coming through here, so it looks like we have to fight anyway. Nice. Just what we wanted. Yeah, even with this strategy, I'm still not super confident in my ability to win. Need more level 3s. That's going to be really helpful.
The leaf cutters are causing problems for the army ants.
Okay, excellent.
The swarm frontier is beginning to recede.
Also, once you push them back from these bars, it doesn't just go past the bar. If it's just above the bar and then you kill a bunch of army ants, then it'll shoot back and it'll go like half an inch away from the bar, and vice versa. It'll just reach the bar, and then as soon as it reaches the bar, it shoots up past the bar a little. I don't know why they did that, but it's the thing, and it's kind of weird. More level 3s. And you may be thinking, like I usually do, and which is usually correct, well, couldn't you just get 3 level 1s, and then they would have a combined total of 600 HP instead of just 400? And it would cost the same as 1 level 3? That's true, but it would be spread out more. So it would still take up 1 ant space. Like, only so many ants can fit in one space at one time. So if you're fighting something big, you could fit a lot of ants around it. But if you're fighting something small, like army ants, you can only fit so many ants around them. So upgrading helps a fair bit. It also makes you deal damage to each ant faster, which kills each individual one faster. So even if you do the same DPS, if it's more concentrated on individual ants, it'll be better. Like, it's better to damage 1 ant for 20 damage than 20 ants for 1 damage, is the point I'm trying to get at. Actually, we're going to stay here. We're going to keep harvesting here. When the nighttime enemies come, we'll just start fighting them. This is the patch we're keeping to harvest when we don't have access to anywhere else. Same sort of story with that one. By the way, they're testing an update in free play that will make it so Army Ant Media have slightly less health and damage but can harvest more, and also they'll be cheaper. They'll go to 65 food instead of 80 food to place, but only in free play. And honestly, I don't really like that. I think they're balanced fine as it is, and I really don't like the idea of having things have different stats in free play than they do in the main game. I mean, the entire point of free play is to have all the enemies and ants that are in the main game, but in a sandbox environment. So I don't know. It just feels like it's gonna mess stuff up. I mean, it might not be super noticeable, but it still bugs me. Just the idea bugs me. We're going to keep our army ant majors around here to cull all the enemies that are going to be showing up. They're not going to be harvesting food. Everyone else will be harvesting food. These guys are going to be just defending them. Most of the time I recommend putting all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, and just having all of your ants harvest. But okay, fully grown bush cricket. Didn't expect that. Not sure how well this is gonna go, if I'm being honest. I need to get my ants to group up more. Oh, it's because of all the wandering enemies over here that's causing them to split up. That's not good. Alright, well, trying to spawn kill them before they could come through here has turned out to be a fail. There's still not too many of them there. I still might have a chance. We're just going to recall the workers back in. I'd put them near the nest entrance, but I don't want them wandering into the refuse piles. Which they might do. They do that sometimes. Keeping at least 500 food at all times. If you can kill the crickets before they finish their spin animation, then you can prevent them from actually doing damage to you. Alright, well, I need to keep harvesting. I can't afford to just stay inside right now. And I've already killed a bunch of enemies here, so the sunk cost fallacy won't let me leave.
Phorid flies are attempting to lay eggs into the heads of ants on the foraging trail.
You are not supposed to go in that direction.
Towards the leaves can defend themselves.
There we go.
Those lumbered with cargo will need assistance. Are on the march.
Alright. So it turns out most of the guys here actually went back in here, which is good for us. We collected a bunch of food. And I think we are ready to kill the last of the army ants. Big conga line of mobs. Don't know why they spawn so far away. It's a little annoying. Alright, perfect. So we've got over 1,000 food. We've got how many level 3s? 10 level 3s, 3 level 2s, 6 level 1s. That should be plenty. Ideally, we would like to attack both columns at once to kill the maximum amount of army ants, but that's just not going to happen. At least not right now, maybe a little later. Yeah, tier 3 leafcutters are actually really powerful. And we can actually afford to do more upgrades because we just have so much food, which is fantastic. Exactly what we want. I think the reason actually that it jumps a little bit is to prevent the bar from just going back and forth really quickly. That probably happened during testing. Okay, see, this could be good, it could be bad. It's good in the sense that it prevents the army ants from coming up. It's bad in the sense that it slows them down. It kills them slowly, which means it's not contributing much progress. What we want is for... We want the enemies that we don't want to fight to be distracted by... We want the army ants that we don't want to fight to be distracted by these guys. But if we want to specifically target a thick group of army ants, we don't want them being attacked by these guys. There we go. I think that was somewhat understandable. Oh, there's a mantis here. Great job. So yeah, if we weren't planning on attacking this line, the mantis would be great. But we are planning on attacking this line, and we are currently doing so. So it sucks. Because now we have to fight both at the same time. We're getting spawn killed by another mantis. Gosh darn it.
An enemy scouting troop has been overwhelmed by the Atta soldiers.
I really want to upgrade more, but I don't know if that's such a good idea right now. Okay, we finally killed that mantis. We've got a wave of support incoming, wave of reinforcements. Yeah, as you can see, they're just sort of trickling in now. They're not coming in very fast. And now I'm going to send a group down here. So we're getting them pretty close. I doubt we'll kill them today, just because not enough will spawn to actually do anything. Cool, thanks. No, that's what I wanted, really. Not enough are going to spawn for us to get enough progress, probably. But, and my cat is throwing up again. Okay, cool. He does that occasionally. It's on the hard floor, though, so it should be fine. Okay, now that we are taking care of this, I'm going to turn on harvesting and do some harvesting. Where from? Big mantis there. Big mantis and phorid flies there. We'll go here. So if you want to trigger these army ant scouts, you can just send like a few workers at them, and then with combat off, let them see them, then have them retreat, and they'll spawn reinforcements. I could do that right now, but I don't particularly want to. Right now I kind of want to focus on getting more food. There's not very many enemies that come through this central passage once the army ants are gone, so we really only need to worry about the guys that come up here, and that's just about it. And occasionally we'll have someone here or here, because the one's wandering up and down, but we should be mostly fine. Actually... wondering if it'd be a decent idea to go here. Because we can resist phorid flies a fair bit.
again the swarm raiders return, and the battered soldiers of the outer ranks stand to meet them.
Okay, we've harvested almost everything here, because we have a fully upgraded chamber of majors. So we didn't lose anything to the fortifies. Now, if I wanted to harvest more right now, I would go down here, but I don't think that's going to be necessary.
The ants will fight to the death.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send my ants out and try and get these army ants killed as soon as possible. Now, you might not need to upgrade all of them to level 3. That just happened to be how things went this time. But if you have a good amount of food and there's not too many enemies around and you have a strong amount of ants and you feel like you can actually take on the army ants, then you can go ahead and try and kill them earlier if you're well prepared. Now, another problem with these guys getting attacked by other enemies is that it can give them time to charge up their damage boost, which means they might have it immediately as soon as they enter combat with you, which is really bad. We're not going to be spending any more food after this point. Now that we've got fully level 3s, we don't really want to... We just want to save all our food for reinforcements, for respawns.
The leafcutters have been spotted by a troop of army ant scouts. If any escape, they will call for reinforcements. The Atta soldiers managed to prevent the army ant scouts from returning to the swarm.
In case you were wondering, the reason I had them up here is because with the constant flow of guys coming from up here, they usually end up just gravitating down here anyway. But if I put the marker here, then they'll route under this island. But I think we should be good. And I think they're spawning just fast enough, and we're killing them fast enough that we should be able to beat the level now.
They must not be allowed to report back to the swarm.
And there we go! 981 food remaining, and a full bunch of level 3 majors, and we have beaten Frontline on Impossible, finally, with the challenge active.
Unable to break their lines and after tremendous losses, the army ant swarm has finally elected to move on. For the leafcutters, the ultimate trial is over.
Finally! This has been like a year in the making, practically, this video. So that's how you do it. I would like to credit Deadeye and Shepherd's Pie for indirectly helping me to beat this level. Specifically, Deadeye's stream where he beat Frontline on Impossible on the first try after a lot of preparation, and also Shepherd's Pie's Frontline tutorial where he also showed how to get the Meticulous Harvest achievement, where you have to do it on Impossible with the challenge active after collecting every single leaf on the map. Yeah, that's apparently possible. So if you want any more tutorials on either this game or others, or any other type of Empires of the Undergrowth video, or any video at all, please let me know in the comments. Please give any kind of feedback, what you want to see, what you don't want to see, what you liked about this video, what you didn't like, and so on.
I knew it. With the proper exposure and stimulation, the mutation possibilities are boundless. The potential for amalgamation, which is, of course, an epistatic effect owing to increased cytoplasmic viscidity.
What are you doing?
Preparing the report.
Can you not do it quietly? Perhaps try using the keyboard?
The keyboard. How quaint.
Someday I'm gonna have to look up all those words like cytoplasmic and viscidity and stuff. Anyway, that's the end of the level. Leave any and all feedback in the comments. Hopefully this helped you, and in the next video I'm going to be doing A Bridge Too Far, which is my least favorite level in the entire campaign. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Outro words, bye.